Do you have an idea for a book and you know how you want it to start? You know kind of like the middle, like the plot twist of it all, and you know how you want it to end. But you're not quite sure how to get there, how to fill it all in, how to make it a complete story? Well, you've come to the right place, because today I'm going to show you how to connect the beginning, middle, and end of your story. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to need is a blank wall. I use blank walls all the time for all of my plotting and kind of planning needs. I find that it's very, very convenient to tape things to the wall, and so you can see the whole story all spread out from start to finish. Once you have your blank wall, you're going to make 3 little slips of paper. One's gonna say beginning, one will say middle, and one will say end, and we're gonna tape them onto the wall. So I'm gonna put my beginning maybe here, and then I'm gonna put the middle kind of like right next to the beginning. So we have all this space for the beginning, all this space for the middle, and then the end is usually shorter than both of these sections as far as like plot points go, or at least I find that to be true. So I'm gonna put the end kind of right here for a few little plot points under here. Next thing you're gonna do is write down the plot points that you have so far. What are the main points that you came up with for the story? For the sake of this video, the beginning, the middle, the end. Sometimes, of course, you'll only know the beginning, or you'll only know the end, or you'll only have a plot twist, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to say that we have all 3, but you can use this method accordingly. It's just kind of how to connect any major plot points that you might have come up with. So you're going to write down in short little sentences the plot points that you have so far. I'm using my debut novel to write this, although the first draft is already done, but we're going to use the plot of this. So for the beginning, like how this whole story begins, is the characters form a band and get going. Very simple terms. What is the event that triggers your story? So I'm gonna tape this under beginning. Then for the middle / plot twist, we have the band competition falls through and things blow up. Go ahead and tape that under middle. And then for the end, I have they raise money and fix the band, happy ending. So I'm going to tape that under the end. So as you can see, we have a very bare bones plot structure here. It's also very simple, just with the beginning, middle, and end. Most plot structures are kind of like a little more in depth, like inciting incident, turning point, rising action, falling action, climax, finale. Like there's lots more kind of words and more sections, which I find to be helpful when you're making a more in-detailed plot. But for figuring it out, like what the plot is gonna be, I like this much more simple method with just beginning, middle, end. Once you have this very simplified plot structure set out with the points that you do have, we now have to figure out how we're gonna get from one point to the next point. I'm gonna try to do this without spoiling my book, but we start with the characters forming a band and get going, which I just meant to mean that they decide who's gonna play what instruments, they practice, they have some shows, stuff like that, just get going. And then the middle event, or the kind of like the plot twist, the band competition falls through and things blow up. In order to get from the formation of the band to the band competition falling through, they need to practice enough to get good enough to perform, and then once they perform for a little bit, maybe they get invited to a band competition. So as you can see there, when you just start thinking about like how you're gonna get from point A to point B, seeing it all spread out, how are we gonna get here, the plot just kind of like comes, like what would happen to get from here to here. I like to grab a pad of sticky notes and a pencil, and just kind of as you're standing here, figuring out how we're gonna get from here to here. Okay, so we're just gonna live make some notes and come up with some plot points. So in order to get from forming the band to the band competition, they need to practice, and get good. Obviously, that is a very vague plot point, but we're being vague right now. We're just doing bare bones. How are we getting here? My sticky notes kind of lift up, so ignore that. Okay. Wow. Okay, so they've practiced and they've gotten good. Are they ready for a band competition yet? No. So they need to play some shows and be successful. Let's put that. Again, very vague, but we're doing bare bones. Okay, so the band has formed, they've practiced, and they've played some shows. Are they ready for a band competition? Perhaps. They could be. So, okay, we've gotten here pretty much. So let's see. Maybe at one of their shows, somebody comes up to them and tells them about this competition and they decide to enter. Somebody tells them about competition and they join. And when you look at that, we've gotten from the beginning to the middle. Obviously, when making the actual like detailed plot outline, we'll have to add more scenes, maybe some more setbacks to make everything more rewarding. We'll have to obviously flesh it out, but we do have an idea of how to get from beginning to middle. So now we're at the middle, the plot twist turning point, and we have to get from the middle to the end. So the band competition falls through and things blow up. We can figure out how that's all gonna happen later, but let's see how we're gonna get from point A to point B. I'm trying to come up with like a different plot that's not actually the plot. They don't talk for a couple days. Drama, sadness, angst, friendship breakups. Now, something needs to happen to get them back to the place where they're going to reform the band if the band has broken up. Because so far all we have is they're not talking, so that's not good. We need to get back to fix the band. Maybe one of the characters has something happen to them in their personal life and the band comes together to help them, and that's how they reconnect their friendship. Okay. Add that to our growing plot. So now they're all friends again. So they need to do their fundraiser and fix the band and kind of fix all their problems, rekindle their friendships. So let's say they find a cause that they want to raise money for and put on a charity show kind of instead of the band competition. Boom, plot. Your story is now complete. Still a very, very rough, bare bones skeleton of an outline, but we have an outline. So that's kind of it for connecting the beginning, middle, and end of your story. We did it. Now you just need to take this kind of bare bones, very simplified outline and come up with plot points and events and maybe some setbacks, stuff like that, but you do have a full complete story of getting from point A to point B, moving through the structure. I have an entire video on my channel of how I plot, like my plotting routine, taping everything up on the wall, just like we just did. If you want to watch that and kind of continue plotting out your story. First step / kind of find a surface. Step 1, the first official plotting step. I do a thought dump document. I'm gonna grab my laptop right now and I'm gonna show you what one of these looks like for me. I think I'm gonna blur the screen because I don't want anyone to steal my absolutely amazing ideas. Duh. But you'll be able to see the clusters of letters and it'll be fine. So basically I just do a thought dump. Whenever I come up with a new idea for a story or whenever I'm picking my next book to work on and I just want to thought dump, I'll make a new document, title it the title of the book. If you don't know the title, I'll just put something random and then I just thought dump. That's pretty much it. We can move on to step 2, which is using a story curve for structure. A book does not have to follow a certain structure. I like to kind of tweak structure because sometimes it's less of like a curve and maybe it's more of like a, but I like to use a story curve for some sort of structure, if that makes any sense. I have used this picture, I'm gonna put it on the screen, of a story curve for the past like 3 years to just plot things. I like how many kind of points there are. I feel like it gives me more of an idea of what to do. Like it's like, okay, now we hit our midpoint, move into the everything comes to a head section. Like it helps me kind of like be like, okay, now here's what we need to do. But yeah, that's pretty much how you connect everything. I know that it seemed very, very simple, but it can be overwhelming to just not know where to even begin. I love that method of taping everything because it just really simplifies it, and it's just a matter of figuring out how to get from point A to point B. But yeah, I hope that was helpful. Good luck with your plotting and your story. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask in the comments and I will answer and I will help to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video if you liked it. Please comment if you have any tutorials, tips, any videos that you want to see from me, or any other videos that you want to see from me. You can also subscribe, that really helps me out. I post bookish content, I post about writing, obviously, writing tips, writing tricks, writing vlogs, stuff like that. And then I also post about reading vlogs, book recommendations, all stuff like that. So anything to do with a book, from writing it to reading it, I talk about it. So if that is up your alley, please subscribe. I post once a week, sometimes more. But yeah, with all that being said, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a really great day. Bye!